Well, there is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun. Hey, it's Nate with another piano tutorial. Today I'm doing House of the Rising Sun, made most famous by the Animals. This song is a true classic, and learning the chords for this iconic chord progression is pretty easy. I'm going to teach you 3 levels of difficulty for the rhythm and arpeggios, and we should be able to get you on your way to playing an awesome sounding cover of it super quick. Let's jump in. Okay, so first off, I recommend you get the chords and lyrics chart. There's a link down in the description that'll help you follow along and see where the chords line up with the words that you sing. We'll start out with the intro. Here's the chord progression for that, and it's got pretty much all the chords you need for the whole song in it. We'll start nice and simple, just blocking out the chords. So for this A minor, it's gonna look like that. We've got A, C, and E in the right hand, and that's middle C for reference. And then with our left hand pinky, we're just doing a lower A like that. Now the C chord's gonna look like this. So notice from that A minor chord, all you need to do in the right hand is just drop your thumb down to G. So it's gonna be G, C, and E. That's an inversion on C major. And then in the left hand, I'm just stepping up to my 3rd finger on that bass C there. Up next, we're just gonna step our hand up to a D major chord. Gonna do A, D, and F sharp in the right hand. And I just stepped up to my 2nd finger on a D bass note there. We also need an F major chord. Once again, that's an inversion, so I had to stretch my left-hand thumb up just a tad to do this F here, and then right hand's doing A, C, and F. Notice how smooth that is from the D chord. Your 2nd finger that you play the C with is already kind of hovering there, and then of course your thumb is already where it needs to be on that A, so that's really smooth there. Okay, only one more chord because we come back to this A minor, and then we've got this E major. Now you're gonna have to kind of just leap your left hand down to do that lower E bass note. And we're gonna put our thumb on G sharp, B, and then pinky on E. I'm using my 2nd finger for that B. We can play that through slowly a few times, but let's make a note that this is in 6/8 time, so each one of these measures gets 6 counts. And right off the bat here, I'm gonna hit my right hand on count 1 and count 4. And this is kind of just the easiest way to play the song. You could play it just like this for all the verses and everything. So it's gonna feel like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have a couple options there. I realize I just hopped my pinky up there, but once you're down to this E, you could do this A minor when you go back and forth with the 2nd finger, and then wait until the verse starts to get your pinky back up on the A. Also want to mention that I am using the sustain pedal here, just with a quick little lift every time the chord changes so it doesn't get too muddy. That helps smooth everything out. So of course the Animals recording has that awesome guitar arpeggio. It sounds kind of like this. So it's the same pattern over and over again, and it's actually pretty easy. You just play on every one of those 6 counts. So you play the left hand bass note on beat 1, and then you take the 3 notes of whatever chord you're doing in the right hand and do bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom, which adds up to 6 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I would just stick on that A minor for a minute, get the hang of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doing a little bit more emphasis on beat 4, so it kind of accents that a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. And once you got the hang of that, you can just work it in. I also want to mention that this is based on what the guitar plays for the arpeggio. There is also a layer of organ going on in this recording, and that sometimes for the F chord will voice an F7, so with a E flat in there. So you could do, and then same thing for the E. This is what the guitar sounds like. but the organ will often hit that D note. So if that sounds better to your ear, it's a little bluesier, got a little bit more of an edge to it, you could totally do that for the E's. Now I'm gonna give one more optional level of difficulty here to really make it sound just like the guitar arpeggio on the Animals recording. It's gonna sound like this. So that's using a faster rhythm right at the beginning on 1, 2, and 3. So dividing the beats in half between 2 and 3, the eighth note between beats 2 and 3. Ba, 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 which means since we added one extra hit in, we now need 7 notes in our arpeggio. So in many cases here, we're gonna add an extra left hand note. So for the A minor, we're gonna also do the 5th of the chord with our thumb. So A, E, and then you go up and down the right hand arpeggio just as you did before, but of course the rhythm feels a little different. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6. So maybe just get the hang of that. Or not, this is totally optional. And I think I am only gonna do this in the organ solo section just to spice it up a little bit. I'm gonna do the slightly simpler one for all my singing sections. So A, for the C, right hand's gonna be the same again, but we're gonna use our 3rd finger on the C bass note, and then we can use our thumb on E again, so it's gonna be. Now for the next 2 chords, the D and the F, we're actually only gonna do 1 left hand bass note, and instead we're gonna get that extra hit in by doing 2 of the top note. So for the D, it's gonna look like, so 2 F sharps there, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6. And then same thing for this F, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6. So back down to the A minor. And then for the E, we're gonna do octaves for the 2 left-hand hits. Of course, you could do that D for the 7th chord sound. If this is too big of a stretch, you could always do 5ths there. Also sounds really good, and then we're back to the A minor as we start the verse. So let's take a look at the verses. Here's the underlying chords for that, and all the verses are basically the same thing. I'll be doing the easier of the 2 arpeggio options, but you can keep it simple with the blocked chords or challenge yourself with the more advanced arpeggio. The first 4 measures are the same as the first 4 measures of the intro, of course with singing. There is a house in New Orleans. Now we've got, go right back to the A minor. They call the rise. So kind of starting the progression over, but then just going straight to the E and 2 measures of E. Sing sun. And it's been the ruin. So same thing again. Of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm. So this part's a little interesting. 1, it's sort of like the melody ends on A minor, but when you hit that A minor, it is also an instrumental pass through what was the same as the intro chord progression starting. It's like slightly disorienting, but makes sense, not too tricky. So from the E at the end of the 2nd line, and God, I know I'm one, right back into that. Back and forth, just like at the end of the intro, and then my mother was, so that would be the 2nd verse starting. And actually, we're pretty much done here. After the 3rd verse, there is the organ solo section. The organ solo that happens on the recording is really intense and advanced. I'm just gonna keep holding it down with the arpeggios. I am gonna do the more advanced arpeggio, but it is the exact same chord progression as the verses. The only verse I still want to take a quick look at is verse 6, the final verse. So here's the chord progression for that. It looks like all the other ones, except for, unlike the other ones, in the 3rd line, it just does A minor to E without going back and forth to a 2nd A minor and E, and that's because it rolls right into the outro. So from the end of the middle line here, and God, I know I'm one. And then here is the outro starting. And there's a new chord in the outro. Here's the outro. It's just back and forth between an A minor and a D minor 5 times before ending on the A minor. Now the D minor is just like the D we've been doing instead of an F sharp, it's an F natural. So I'm just gonna go back and forth like that. Second time. And you can really drag this out. Here's the 3rd time. You can really slow down if you want. And then end on A minor. And the A minor chord you hear at the very end of the song is actually like an A minor 9 chord. The organ is playing that. You can totally just end on the A minor, but if you want, you can just kind of climb up. All the notes together for that chord are A, C, E with a G and a B. You don't have to block them all out together. Notice it's just skipping notes all the way up to the B. And so you could, using the sustain pedal, just kind of end like that. And then the song is over. All right, thank you for sticking with me. I am now gonna do a full cover so you can see how all these parts fit together in the complete song. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Also click the bell so you know when I put out more videos like this one. Also leave a request down in the comments. I'm actually doing this song today because I think last week someone suggested it and I couldn't believe that I hadn't thought to do it yet. So keep them coming. Okay, here's my version of House of the Rising Sun. There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one. My mother was a tailor. She sewed my new blue jeans. My father was a gambling man down in New Orleans. Now the only thing a gambler needs is a suitcase and a trunk, and the only time he's satisfied is when he's on a drunk. Oh, mother, tell your children not to do what I have done. Spend your lives in sin and misery, in the house of the rising sun. Well, I got one foot on the platform, the other foot on the train. I'm going back to New Orleans to wear that ball and chain. Well, there is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun, and it's been